Go ahead, put it on real tight. Hope you brought your best tonight. They say they got the fireworks, yeah, they say they got the show. Here around the chutes, you're the best, so let's go.
This is Texas Toast, a production of TSC Entertainment. I'm your host, Miss Helen. Kick back and enjoy as we toast the best from Texas.
Hey everyone, welcome to Texas Toast. I'm Miss Helen, of course, your host, and have a really special person that we're going to have on today's episode, Mr. Paul Eason. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
So I have something that I want to show you. I'm going to hold up. This is kind of like this mama kind of thing, like, you know, like baby photos. Can you see this?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh,
that
yeah.
was when I think you were probably on your first radio tour and you came to our radio station, and I absolutely fell in love with your music. And still, two of my most favorite songs is One More Dance and Keeping It Between the Lines.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that's been a while now. Maybe, I don't know, 15 years?
It's been a long time, but that is still in my music library, and I listen to those a lot. It's just good, fun music. So what was it like for you when you were a solo artist?
It was a lot of fun. It was also a lot of work. It was real hard. Just keeping a band together. At the time, I was starting out, so I was doing, I was driving the van, I was selling merch, I was writing the songs, playing lead guitar, selling with the club. I did every single job there was, basically. So it was a lot of work, but it was also really fun. So, I don't know. It has its ups and downs, running your own band.
Oh, that's a lot, being a band leader.
For sure.
Which, you've transitioned a lot because you went from your solo career and then you were Kevin Fowler's sideman. You played in Kevin's band.
Yeah. Yes, I did my own band for 8 years. And then I started playing with Kevin, and that was totally different because all I did, I would just show up at the bus, and I wouldn't even know where we're going, and then I just go play lead guitar to great crowds, and it was it was a ton of fun, and way less work than running your own band.
Mm-hmm. So for a lot of the artists that are listening, because one thing I wanted to pick your brain about is because you've been a solo artist and then you were basically, a musician with Kevin in the band. And then now we'll get to the Wilder Blue here in a little bit. But like for a musician that's up and coming, is it better do you feel like your solo career, being a solo artist, gave you an advantage going into playing in a band alongside someone like Kevin, or how do you think, was that an advantage, disadvantage, or what are the positives to that?
Yeah, I think it definitely is an advantage. If if you've been in, your potential boss's situation, you understand what he would want from somebody who's going to, hire a guitar player. Like if I was looking for a guitar player, I'd want them to be obviously really good at their instrument, but also I'd want them to be fun to hang out with, and always show up on time, and do all the other stuff that a lot of musicians don't do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Having employed other musicians, I feel like it definitely gives you an advantage when you're looking to join a bigger band, I guess.
And then being on the other side of that, for a musician looking to go to a band, what should they look for in that band and band leader?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Like as far as, let's say I'm a guitar player, I'm a drummer, and I want to, get a full-time gig with a band. What's something that a musician should look for?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we like a few times we would have people try out or something, or fill in, and the guys who everyone talked about forever are the guys who came in and just had really done their homework, basically, and knew all the songs. The people who really put in the time to learn the stuff are the ones that made like lasting impressions, and eventually got like other great gigs. Because if you come in and fill in with the Kevin Fowler band and you nail it on your first show, everybody's going to remember that and recommend you to other bands and stuff. So just preparation, really.
Being prepared. So as a musician, what is your creative process, whether it be songwriting or getting prepared for a show? Is there certain, like with athletes, they have, certain things that they won't wear, certain colors? Like your creative process as a musician, do you have any of those superstitions before you perform, or?
Well, we usually take a shot of whiskey before we play. But that's in the new band. No, I don't really have anything like that. Sometimes, I mean, I do like to maybe just warm up on guitar for a few minutes before we play, just to kind of get my fingers moving. But other than that, not really, honestly. It's a real strange because you can have great shows and terrible shows, just depending on kind of where you're at, like emotionally or physically. And it's incredibly hard to tell why it's like that sometimes. Like sometimes you'll feel like all the songs are too fast or all the songs are too slow. And we have a click, so I know that they're actually the correct tempo, but everything just feels weird, and they're like, it's just very strange how different things can be, and there's nothing you can do about it as far as I can tell.
That was very interesting. I really appreciated that. So now you've transitioned to the Wilder Blue, and y'all's music is amazing. And of course, you and Zane combined together. I mean, that is just like a win-win right there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's really exciting. It's definitely the best musical creation thing I've been a part of in my life, I think. So,
Oh, wow.
so I'm really excited about it. I mean, we have 5 really talented guys that we put together with the intent of being a harmony singing band, and it's really fun to be part of a. I've never been part of a band where everyone is like equal owner of it, so it's really fun to be a team kind of and come up with stuff that we all really love to play.
So what's the backstory? How did y'all all get together?
So I was in Del Rio, Texas, playing with Kevin Fowler one afternoon when Zane Williams called me and just said, "Hey, Paul, this is Zane. I think we should start a band together." I was a little surprised, but I thought about it for a while. I was like, "Yeah, I have to do that because Zane's one of the best writers I know, and for some reason he wanted to start a band with me." So then we started looking for, who do we think are the most underappreciated musicians in Texas who are also, great singers, and because we wanted everybody to sing. And so we spent a year or two kind of finding the right guys for the band, and I think we got a really awesome group of guys. So.
How long did it take for you to get your projects together and your songwriting and then get in the studio and record?
I think it was 2 years probably from the first time that Zane called me to the time where we actually, recording an album, I think. So it took a while.
Well, all this stuff is good. I really, and we particularly, I like Palomino Gold. Let's talk about Palomino Gold for a minute.
Yeah. That's Zane wrote that one. It's I feel like I've heard his story before where he just kind of just made it up because it sounded cool. But it is a great song, and it's kind of talking about hill country and the Frio River, and so those are some of my favorite things in the world, basically. So
yes,
I love that song.
That's what I liked about it. We talked about it. We have a segment on here on Texas Toast called Texas on Tap, where we look at new releases, and that was one of the ones that I had picked one week, and I liked it because it was just kind of like I could hear your style of music and Zane in it, and it's just perfect. Another one I like is Adios.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, I wrote the
Mm-hmm.
choruses of that song, and then I had some verses, but I sent it to Zane, and he rewrote the verses. So he kind of wrote the verses, I wrote the choruses. And it's been fun. I feel like Zane is like, maybe with Palomino Gold, even he's kind of written some songs that they're a little more my style, kind of like a little more kind of Southwestern-y, feeling or whatever. And then Adios is, you used to be able to just drive down to Acuna and just in college and spend the weekend in Acuna. And I don't know if anyone does that anymore. It's maybe not so safe, but anyway.
We were just having that conversation the other day, me and some of my friends. And so right now, as far as they were concerned, doesn't happen anymore, which is sad, but that place holds a lot of memories for so many.
Right. Yeah, totally. Last I've heard, almost all those, restaurants and clubs are shut down, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know these days.
And then one other I want to talk about is Dixie Darling.
Oh yeah, that is maybe one of my favorite songs on the record. I think we ended up, taking our name, our second name, because we were first called
Hill Country, right? Uh-huh.
but we ended up taking our name from that song, I guess, the Wilder Blues. Yeah, I don't know. That's another one that Zane wrote. That I think he's had for a while. He wrote that before the band came together, so I think he's had that song for a few years. But that was one of the first songs we ever sang together. Me and Lyndon Hughes and Zane as kind of like a trio harmony kind of thing, and so that's one of the first things we ever worked on, I guess.
Well, loving all of your stuff. So y'all are out doing a lot of shows now. So what songs are you really seeing your audience respond to?
Well, definitely Palomino Gold. Because that's kind of, I guess that's been our most popular on Spotify, online and stuff. But we just came out with a song called Wave Dancer.
Mhm.
That'll be on our second record. I think it's already available to our, we have a kind of our own Patreon called The Hideout. And I think those people already have it, but that one, when we play it live, seems to get the best response because it's got a big a cappella harmony thing at the beginning that kind of gets people's attention, I guess.
Awesome. Great song. Now, speaking of your Hideout on your website, tell everybody about that.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's kind of like a Patreon, but it's just our own kind of setup of that, basically. So, people who are, true fans or whatever can subscribe for $5 a month or more if they want to. And we use all that money goes basically straight to our recording budget. So every couple months we go to the studio for 3 or 4 days and record 2 or 3 songs basically. And those songs, we release 1 song a month back to the Hideout members who paid for it. So they're basically financing our records, and they get the music before everybody else does. And then at the end of the year, the whole record will come out basically, but those people have had it for, the whole year, hopefully. And it's amazing because that's the hardest thing to do, I think, as a independent artist, is come up with, $40,000 to record a record or something like
Right.
that. All at once is real tough. So now we have a, kind of a monthly budget, and we do it monthly, and it makes us create new music all the time, whether we want to or not, which is great for us too. So it's a cool system, I think.
Yeah. And, I just look at everything that you've done, and this may be a loaded question, but what in particular song or songs do you feel that, you were ever a part of as a songwriter, as a musician, or even as a solo artist? Is there any particular song that stands out to you that just really changed things for you, that made a difference?
I guess my biggest song is Mountains of Nuevo Leon.
Mm-hmm.
One has kind of been the one I get the most feedback from, I guess. The people, when I talk to people at whatever shows, whatever, they say, oh, I love this song, I loved it for 10 years, whatever. So that was really cool. But the one I'm most excited about now is called Build Your Wings, which is one I wrote that'll be on our second album. And it's, I don't know, it's really a personal song for me, but also I feel like it came out the best it possibly could because we got to work as a band in the studio doing what we thought was cool and right for the song. And so I'm excited for people to hear that one.
Yeah. So how did you get into music? I know you grew up in Houston, in the Houston area.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. When I was 12, my sister got a guitar for Christmas, and I just kind of stole it away from her. I guess she wasn't playing it too much, so I just kind of picked
Oh,
and learned to play Wild Thing on guitar.
how cute.
And then a year later, I was in a band, I think we were kind of like a rock, punk, ska kind of band, basically. So since I was 13, I've been playing in bands. But I also played upright bass at the High School for the Performing Arts in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Texas State for sound recording technology as my major, I guess. So, you know, I've always been playing bands and also school doing music until I dropped out of college to play music full time.
So it's just been music for you all your life.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's all I do pretty much. So.
Yeah, and you do it very good, Paul.
Thank you.
You do it very good. And that was
That's
going to
good.
be another question I was going to ask you. So if you didn't do music, what do you think you would be doing?
Oh, that's interesting. You know, I've always thought I'd like to be a cartographer and make maps. Or, but lately, more realistically, my buddy and I have been talking about building an RV park.
Oh, wow.
You know, so some kind of real estate kind of stuff or something. But anything I ever did would only be so I have enough music to keep making money, enough money to keep making music.
Right, right. Right. So upcoming shows, anything big coming up for y'all that you're really excited about?
Let's see. We just did a run to Montana last week, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, I've been to Montana. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the weather was amazing, and we had a great time. Coming up, I know we're doing some shows with the Steelwoods in Kentucky and maybe
Cool.
Tennessee. Those are always really fun because we get to play in front of a whole new crowd that kind of usually digs our music. What else do we have? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff coming up that'll be fun. I think we might be playing Steamboat, which would be fun. That'll be the first time I would ever play it as my own band, I guess. I've played with Fowler a bunch of years, but so that could be really fun. If that happens, I'm not totally sure yet. So.
Yes, I've already been checking on the dates for Steamboat. I'm thinking that's always been on my bucket list to go to, but I was in radio for so many years, it was hard to break away and go. I know that sounds ironic, you're in radio and you should be there, but it was just always that time of the year where it never worked out. So I'm thinking I might be able to go this year, hopefully, fingers crossed.
That would be awesome. Yeah, us too. I'm still not sure, but if we're both there, we'll have to hang out.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So one other thing, since you're just so experienced in the industry, was there any one piece of advice that someone gave you that made a difference that you feel like has helped you on this path that you've had in this trip in music?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know who told me because probably a few people have given me this idea, but I think the most important thing is just to stick with it. If you just do it long enough, you'll eventually, find your thing, and hopefully you'll be good at your craft because you've been doing it a long time if you've been trying. And so I feel like if you just keep sticking with it and keep trying to find out what is really, you as an artist, then you'll eventually make it in some capacity.
Well, you've definitely done that. I'm just loving the sound and loving the style of music that y'all have put together with the Wilder Blue. Looking forward to following you with that music. And I have to ask you, how's Bree?
She's good. She is actually in Omaha on her way to Montana. Their band is playing Montana, I think tomorrow maybe or something like that. So she's on the road, which is great. Like, it's great to both be busy again because, last year was a tough one. So
yeah,
she's doing great.
Yeah.
We just bought some land together and we're going to try to build a little shack on it and live there. We're in the green area in New Braunfels.
Oh yes, love it there.
Yeah.
If I wasn't such a coastal person, because I'm on the coast, but if I wasn't such a coastal person, that's definitely where I would be. That's my second favorite part of Texas.
Yeah, it's real fun. And we can walk to the river, and there's an amazing amount of musicians that live in New Braunfels these days.
Yes, it's kind of the hub. Has been for a while, definitely.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, one last question before I let you go. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
Oh, okay. Maybe, well, I don't know how this relates to any of the rest of me, but I like Negronis the best, and I kind of make my own version of a Negroni. So maybe I'll choose that one.
Okay. And so what's in it?
That would be a third, equal parts gin, vermouth. I use dry vermouth and Campari.
Wow, you're fancy.
Yeah.
I think when I had Bree on, one of hers was one of the Carbach beers and a shot of whiskey or something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it
Carbach
was
and a
good
whiskey.
stuff. Well, it's been a pleasure visiting with you, and thank you so much for taking the time and letting me drill you with questions, because we wanted to get you on too to talk about you and the Wilder Blue and all the stuff that you've done, but also I think that you're a person now that with the younger musicians and artists that we have coming up, they can look at Paul Eason and say, hey, that's how I want to, I want to be like Paul. So
Wow. Okay.
thank you so much. Thanks so much for taking the time to be with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And with a heavy tongue, she knew where I was from. As she left, I dared to say, well, you can go